Good friend of mine, a guy's been around Oklahoma State for a long, long time, 13-year MLB veteran, Mickey Tettleton. And Mick, we were talking before we went on the air. We didn't time it this way, but it is good timing in that you're on, and we could talk about, at least on paper, we're going to play baseball here.
Yeah, I mean, that's exciting. And I think, with everything that's going on right now in the world, we need some sports. We need to get something off people's minds, and it's a great opportunity. I'm glad they were able to work it out, because it looked like there for a while that this thing was going to get postponed for the rest of the season. So technically we have a start date, but they got to get there and get everybody, make sure they're healthy and get them back in shape and playing shape, and we'll see what happens from there.
In your mind, how much of an issue is the actual health risk some of these players are weighing? I guess it's conceivable some guys could opt out and not play because they're worried about the virus and what happened. Do you think we'll see some players not join in?
Well, it's a possibility. I mean, there's already been a couple of guys in the NBA that have opted out. So I have not heard whether they are giving the players the option to do that or not, but it would not surprise me. I think the way it is right now, I mean, it sounds like you can catch this thing anywhere.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you're safe out on a baseball field, in a locker room, on a bus, on an airplane. I mean, that's all stuff that they're going to have to work out, and whether they're going to have these guys wearing masks all the time. I'm sure they're going to be testing them, constantly. And I'm sure that they've got plans in place for if a player does test positive, what they're going to do with them and how they're going to replace them on a roster.
To the casual observer, kind of take us behind the scenes about this. One day, the owners say this, the association says this, then the owners reject this, and back and forth we went. Is this just a perfect example of how much of a business this is?
Well, it is on both sides of it. You're talking about an enormous amount of money that the players are invested in, and the owners as well. And so I think that both sides are just trying to get the best deal for them. I think I'm probably one of those people right now that would like to see them say, "Hey guys, let's kind of put all this petty bickering aside and get back to playing baseball," because they're talking about people that are making millions of dollars when there's folks out there that don't have a job. And so it would be nice to, just see them set a little bit of this aside and just get back to work. Even though, I do understand, what the players are trying to protect, and I understand what the owners are trying to protect.
We talked about this before, but it is a matter of honoring contracts, though, right? When somebody signs a contract in anything, and I know where you're going because the optics don't look good, but at the same time, if I sign a contract with you and we have both signatures on there, I mean, you expect both sides to live up to them, wouldn't you?
No doubt. And I think that, one of the things that the players were arguing that they were wanting, the full prorated portion of their contract, depending on where they started the number of the games. And just like you said, you sign a contract, both sides need to live up to that. I understand, the owners they're not going to have anybody in the stands, but they're getting ready to sign a $1 billion TV deal from what I understand, so they're going to get revenue that way. And it would just be nice if it just wasn't right now, when you have so many people out there struggling, and you've got millionaires arguing with millionaires about money. It's just not a real good look for baseball right now, and especially at a time where baseball really needs something positive to happen, because in my opinion, they've fallen on the back burner behind football and basketball. As far as, is it still America's pastime? I'm not for sure it is anymore.
When you broke in 1981, actually we were drafted then by Oakland in the 5th round, were you, like any new guy, rookie, were you aware of the business side of baseball, and how long did it take you to become aware that, it's the love of the game and going out and busting it every blah, 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 but there is a business side to this business? How long did it take you to realize that?
Well, I think, when you're first signing out of college, you're still basically living a college lifestyle as far as financially. I mean, I was making $600 a month living with, 3 other guys in a 2-bedroom apartment in Modesto, California. So financially, it was not that glamorous, but you also knew that you could possibly be on a path to making it to the big leagues and living out a dream. And really, for me, I think the first reality of it was when Carney Lansford, who played third base for Oakland when I got called up, signed a contract for $1 million. And, we're at the time, we're just like, oh, my gosh, can you believe he's making that kind of money? And now, you got guys sitting on the bench that's making twice that amount. So it has definitely changed. But, like you say, it's a business to go along with the sport. And sometimes when you mix the two, it doesn't have a real pleasant outcome in people's eyes.
Let's assume we just go ahead and play, and there's no any more scuttling going on of the plans. Do you like some of these changes? We're talking about 60 games, not the 162. We're talking about things like putting a player at second base to start the extra innings, a la softball. Do you like some of the tinkering that's going on here?
Well, I think if they're going to start July 1st, let's just pick up the schedule where it is and play it out from there, whatever, however many games there is left.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact amount, but that's, what seems logical to me. Some of the stuff that they're talking about doing, no, I don't like at all. Putting a guy at second base. Some of the stuff that they're trying to do with clocks. Baseball was the only sport that we were never up against the clock. And if you got 2 good pitchers, you could be out there for an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. If you had a slugfest, you're out there for 4 hours. And now they're trying everything they can to speed up a game that is notoriously slow. You can't. The manager, if he goes to the bullpen, the guy's got to face a minimum of 3 hitters.
Yeah.
So they're trying really hard to speed it up, but they're also doing a really good job of screwing up a really good game.
And you shouldn't be too disappointed about the DH being in both leagues, right?
No, because I think that probably should have been done a long time ago. Nothing against the pitchers. I saw some pitchers with really good swings, but I don't want to watch them hit all the time.
Or bunt, or try to bunt, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like me pitching. They don't want to watch me pitch.
Well, I had never heard it put that way, but you're probably right there. As you look at the way, fans are not going to be there, but I use fans in general. Those watching, those of us who have been waiting to see something. Will the interest come back, or how do you think the fan base will react to this shortened season?
Well, baseball has been notorious for fans being mad at us for going on strike, and understandably so, because there's people behind the scenes, that never get talked about. The people who work at the ballpark, whether it's in the parking lots or in the concessions, doing things like that, the memorabilia, that those folks never get talked about, and they're out of a job, and so I can understand how folks get frustrated with baseball, but somehow or another it does find a way to always come back. And I think that if they do this right, baseball has a chance to get back on track. Because like I said earlier, I think that it's fallen behind football and basketball now, and no disrespect of those other 2 sports, rightfully so. They've done great, but I'm just not for sure that baseball is as important to people as it once was.
This is always just a grand question, a broad-based question, but since you broke in, and you broke in with Oakland, and of course you played with Baltimore, Detroit, and Texas in 13 years in the bigs, baseball, the game itself, changed a bit in terms of philosophy and approach and, I don't know, dedication, or whatever word you want to put in there?
No, I don't think the game of baseball has changed. It's still the same game. I think you look at that some of the things that have changed, or you look at the analytics side of it. Mm-hmm. I think that has changed the game, and it still boils down to a pitcher against a hitter, and whoever executes is going to win. So you can have all the numbers the analytics are basically just advanced scouting reports. Is all they are. And you can have all those numbers and do all the adding up and stuff, but you still have to execute. And if you don't execute, then all that stuff really doesn't matter. But I don't think the game has changed. I think the way the players play the game has changed. There's a lot of things that drive me crazy, and I know talking to guys like Roger Clemens and stuff. I mean, there would be guys bruised on their ribs a lot.
You can't get away with that anymore, man.
Oh no! I mean, I'm watching, and it just so happens we're in Tulsa, and this is the Dodgers, one of the Dodgers farm teams. And I watched Bellinger one night hit a home run. It was a bomb when he's rounding third base, and he lifts his sleeve up, showing his muscles off to the Dodgers dugout, and that would have never happened in my day. I mean, guys respected the game. They respected their opponent, and I think that they have lost that. I mean, they've really turned this into a showmanship type deal, and then somebody gets really mad when somebody does hit somebody. But
yeah,
and I'm not condoning that by any means, but I think that I do think that the way the players play the game now, they have lost a little bit of respect for the game and for each other.
Before we get into your latest venture, at least over there in Tulsa, we're going to do that before we get out of here, but toughest pitcher you had to face?
Oh, my gosh.
You faced some good ones in that league now, I'm telling you.
I'm not sure we have enough time. Well, obviously Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
I told an umpire one night a pitch sounded low, and he had some choice words for me and told me to get back in the box. But I mean, Roger Clemens, Brett Saberhagen, David Cohn. The toughest guy for me to hit was a guy named Eric Hansen, and he could have told me what was coming, and I could have taken a boat paddle up there, and I still couldn't have gotten a hit off of it. I think I had one in my career, but the list just goes on and on. I mean, it's kind of like the best player that I ever played against. I mean, the list just goes on and on of players that I played against. I thought a really cool thing. I can't remember where it was, but I saw the best starting nine for every major league team.
Mm-hmm.
It was done here recently, and I looked at it, and it was really cool to see the amount of players that were in my era that were on those teams, those starting nines for every team. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There was kind of a golden era in itself. Different era now, and people could argue one way or the other. You look at the way you came up out of Southeast, and we've discussed this before on this show, but Southeast had at one time a great lineage of putting guys into pros, I guess is where I'm going, in all sports. So you were a star there. But you got to Oklahoma State, and you played for one of the guys who didn't care whether it was a 4-hour game or a 5-hour game, in Gary Ward. And we had some of those 4-hour games, but the intensity was there. I don't know. Can you carry that intensity around anymore, or is an umpire looking to toss you?
Well, I know that you cannot do what we did, and Coach Ward, we didn't shake anybody's hands after a game.
We had social distancing then. That's what we were doing, right?
We had down the line orange. That was our social distancing. And, and Coach Ward just, we weren't there to be your friends. We were there to beat you. And fortunately, we were able to do that a few times. But, that would never fly in today's game because, especially at the college level, except for when you've got a weekend series, the kids only shake hands on Sunday. But, Coach would never let that happen. We would never shake anybody's hand after a game. And you know what? He took a lot of heat for that. And but that was what he did. And like I said, we weren't there to be friends. We were there to beat you.
I had forgotten this, but when you get my age, Mick, you forget a lot of things. But, that you were in that.
I forget where I'm going to one end of the house for now.
well, I'm glad somebody else is in the same world with me.
When I get there, I forget what the hell did I come down here for?
Well, see, that makes me feel better now. Maybe I forgot that you were in that first class of inductees in '92 in our Cowboy Baseball Hall of Fame. And when you look at that group that you went in with, Incaviglia, Allie Reynolds, Traber and Joe Buck. I mean, there's only one class, right? It's always going to be just one class, but that has to still be quite an honor, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. I put that right up there. I was fortunate enough this past year to be inducted into the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame.
You're right.
Both of those, because you never set out, as kids, you're just playing a game and enjoying what you're doing and loving what you're doing. I mean, you never think about Hall of Fame and stuff like that. And, when you get to be, kind of where we're at in our age right now, you look back on those things and really appreciate them a lot more than you do at the time that it's going on. Because I was still playing at the time. But, to be inducted with probably the greatest college player ever with Pete, and then Allie P. and Traves. It was a wonderful, wonderful class to be able to go in.
Let's turn to your current challenge now, and I when I had Tom on last week, I called it Cape Cod South, but and it seems that way. But we talk about the Texas Collegiate League going over. You're about to open up play there over in Tulsa. The drillers, the new drillers, wearing their stuff, wearing their colors and workout gear. It's a great opportunity for college players. But this looks like a team that Tom went out and put together pretty well, and should be pretty competitive, I would think.
Yeah, I tell you what, we were talking about it, and thank goodness the Dodgers have got some big kids over here, so I got some clothes that'll fit. But we were talking the other day. We think this team is probably better than the team we put together last year offensively, and I hope people get a chance to come out and watch these kids, because we've got some kids that will definitely have a chance of passing, at least through this level in the next few years. We've got some kids from USC. We've got some kids from the East Coast, Nebraska. I mean, it's a quality group, along with the arms that we've got as well. So I'm excited to watch these guys go. I think it'll be a great opportunity for people in Tulsa to come out and see these kids that they may not have an opportunity to see because you've got them on either coast. We have local kids too, the kids from OSU, and we've got one kid from that's going to OU, and then I believe 3 kids from Oral Roberts. So it's a really good blend. They're great kids, and it's fun to watch them. I just try not to screw them up.
I don't think you'll do that, but you might toss a tip or two to Hewitt. Behind the plate, he may come out of this a better catcher than he was going in.
Well, let's hope so. He's a talented kid. He can play multiple positions, and I know Josh really uses him behind the plate. We've got another young catcher from Florida that can flat go, another one from Florida International that can go. So we have been well stocked behind the plate. So like I said, it'll be fun to watch these guys do their thing, and we're trying to help them venture into their careers, into their playing careers. And if they take one thing away from this, it's wonderful. I had the kids from USC last summer when their season started. They're sending me videos of their swing and stuff, and that's what makes it all worthwhile for me is to see these kids. When you're teaching and developing, and then they still have the trust in you to send you videos, say, hey, what do you think? I mean, it makes you feel really good.
Now, I got to tell you what make them feel good. I know 3 you guys. I don't know the one other gentleman, but, with you and Wiss and Holiday, they're going to get great instruction. But this was basically was Assembler, the other guy who came from Howard, I think, right? Did he not? I want to say that. The other coach. That you got.
Cody? Yeah, he was at OSU with them for a while, and he moved on to a junior college out west.
Okay, so you really got good instructions, what I'm getting at. And you play. I had Cabinets on, and he's a guy from that area, and he's talking about how great it is to be able to play in that great stadium. So, I mean, everything sets up well for this from a Tulsa viewpoint.
Yeah, and I think it's great, and all credit to the Drillers franchise. I mean, they really put this thing on in a hurry, and the other franchises in the Texas League as well, who came on board. These kids are going to have an opportunity to play in some wonderful facilities, and hopefully they'll be able to play in them one day in the minor leagues. Not play in them for very long, but it's a long ways from the Modesto, California, and the wooden bleachers that I play when you're looking at some of these facilities. But like I said, it's a great opportunity not only for these kids to get out and play because of what happened this year and their season getting cut short. So they get another opportunity, like some of the kids on the East Coast and the West Coast. Well, the scouts that may not get to see them, the pro scouts, now they're going to get to see them in the middle of the country.
What is it, 30?
So it's a wonderful opportunity for them. And like I said, I think it's a great opportunity, too, for the people of Tulsa or even Stillwater, people who are close around to come watch these kids play. I mean, there's some kids that can flat go.
Yeah, we're looking at, 30 games, 33 days? Is that what it amounts to? And then
we got 15 at home, 15 on the road. They're basically just taking over the driller schedule is what they're doing. And like I said, it's been unbelievable how quickly these folks have put everything together, got these guys in here. And, all credit to the drillers and their franchise. I mean, they've done a wonderful job of not only taking care of these kids so far, but just everything that they've done from a logistics standpoint, getting these guys in here.
And first weekend is the end of this. What we got?
June 30th. Next Tuesday night.
Good night.
We've got all night games too, which I really like that. I was never a fan of the day games. So.
Yeah, but we can get into that because you had to sweat all those years behind the plate in the day game. It was a little cooler at night, maybe.
Yeah, well, you just get into such a habit, a routine of night games, and somebody hits you in the face, and hey, man, you got to be back at the ballpark in 5 or 6 hours. That's not a whole lot of fun.
Hey, Mick, as always, not enough time to cover everything we want to do, but I do appreciate you jumping on. I know a lot of our fans are going to be running over there to check this out and see what's going on with you fellas and the new Tulsa Drillers, if you will. But best of luck this week, this summer. Enjoy these kids, and we'll touch base when it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I hope the folks do get a chance to come out and see them play. I'm excited to watch them play. I know we got some really talented kids. I don't know about the other rosters. I'm sure that there'll be a bunch of really good players on the other rosters as well. So I think what they were trying to do was take some of these kids that were supposed to be in the Cape Cod, which is the premier college league of the summer, and try to bring them in here. And from what I've seen on our roster, they have done a really good job of that. I know he's had that phone planted in his ear over the last 3 weeks. So between him and the front office of the Drillers, they've done a remarkable job of getting these kids in here.
Well, enjoy these kids, and we'll see you over there for sure. I'm going to make a couple of trips over, so we'll get down and see you.
Like I said, I'm just not trying to screw them up, man. I'm just going to jump on and go for a ride.
I don't think there's any chance of that. Hey, Mick, thanks for joining us, bub.
All right, Tommy. Always a good time.
All right, see ya. Mickey Tettleton.